Nature doesn't do romance the way we do. When the drive to reproduce takes over, many animals abandon grace entirely. Some fight to the death, others transform their bodies into weapons. This is the intense intimacy of wild animals when nature calls, a countdown of some of the strangest, most jaw-dropping mating rituals ever documented. So prepare for the bizarre, the brutal, and the genuinely astonishing. Sea slugs, nudibranch Chromodoris reticulata. Instead of waiting to find a separate mate, each nudibranch carries both male and female organs simultaneously. When two individuals encounter one another, they press their right sides together, where the genitalia are located, and inseminate each other at the same moment. The exchange is fully mutual. What makes Chromodoris reticulata truly extraordinary comes next. After mating concludes, the animal sheds its entire penis. The organ detaches cleanly and is simply abandoned. Within 24 hours, a brand new one grows back from a coiled internal reserve. Scientists suspect discarding the penis helps clear away sperm deposited by a previous partner. For a creature no larger than a human thumb, the biological complexity at work here is remarkable. Before we move on, check out this incident shared from a national park on social media. No officials or news sources have confirmed it, so it may simply be a hoax. The picture appears to show two elephants engaging in intimate behavior during a park visit. Do you think it's real? Let us know in the comments. Hairy frog, Trichobatrachus robustus. Fast-moving mountain streams of Central Africa become the stage for one of the most physically taxing amphibian mating rituals. Males clamp onto females from behind in a posture called amplexus and hold on for extended periods while the female deposits eggs onto submerged rocks. The male then fertilizes them externally. Dense, hair-like skin filaments covering the male's flanks and thighs during breeding season act as gill-like structures. It expands the surface area to improve oxygen absorption, allowing males to stay underwater longer. Males also grow notably larger than females, a strong signal of fierce competition among rivals for reproductive access. Sarcastic fringehead, Neoclinus blanchardi. The sarcastic fringehead relies on intimidation. His mouth can expand to several times its normal size, revealing a vivid, fleshy interior meant to startle rivals. When two competitors vie for a prime nesting crevice, they don't bite. Instead, they press their cavernous mouths together in a strange, jaw-wrestling standoff that looks more like an aggressive kiss. The individual with the larger mouth and brighter colors usually wins. Once a victor is chosen, a female lays her eggs inside his shelter. He fertilizes them and stands guard, fiercely protecting the next generation until they hatch. Bedbug, Cymex lectularius. Traumatic insemination is how bedbugs reproduce, bypassing the female's reproductive tract entirely. The male uses sharp, hypodermic-shaped genitalia to pierce directly through the partner's abdominal wall and inject sperm into her body cavity. From there, sperm migrate through the hemolymph, the insect equivalent of blood, to reach the ovaries. No courtship occurs, and no cooperation is required. The process causes genuine injury, punctured tissue, immune responses, and a reduced lifespan. To limit cumulative damage, the receiving individual has evolved a specialized structure called the spermoledge. It is a thickened abdominal region that absorbs and partially heals repeated punctures. Suriname toad, Pipa pipa. A sequence that seems nearly impossible begins when the male and female perform synchronized underwater somersaults, rotating together as the female releases eggs, which the male fertilizes mid-arc while they turn through the water. With each rotation, fertilized eggs land on the female's back. Over the following hours, the skin there swells and closes over each egg, embedding them beneath the surface. Embryos develop inside individual skin pockets, progressing from egg to fully formed toadlet, then push through the mother's backskin when ready to emerge. The entire developmental process takes roughly 3 months. No external water, no separate nest. The mother's body serves as the incubator throughout. Blanket octopus, Trimoctopus violaceus. One of the most dramatic size disparities in the animal kingdom belongs to the blanket octopus. Females grow to 2 meters in length. Males reach just 2.4 centimeters. When mating occurs, the male tears off one of his own arms, a specialized structure called a hectocotylus loaded with sperm, and transfers it directly to the female. He dies shortly after. Remarkably, the detached arm can move independently, helping it reach the female's egg mass. She stores the sperm and uses it to fertilize up to 100,000 eggs, which she carries and guards without feeding until they hatch. In this species, the male's entire biological existence compresses into a single act of transfer. Honey bee, Apis mellifera. Only once in her lifetime does a queen honeybee mate, but the scale of that event is extraordinary. She leaves the hive on a nuptial flight, rising high into the air where drones from multiple colonies gather. Over several hours, she mates with between 12 and 20 different males in mid-flight. Each drone dies immediately. The act of transferring his reproductive organs fatally injures him. The queen stores all collected sperm in an organ called the spermatheca, where it remains viable for up to 5 years. She draws on this reserve to fertilize millions of eggs throughout her life, never needing to mate again. Every worker and drone in the hive traces its origin to that single flight. Echidna, Tachyglosidae. Long before mating occurs, the echidna's courtship process begins. A female in estrus attracts a single-file line of pursuing males who follow her for weeks in what researchers call a mating train. When she stops and presses herself flat against the ground, the rivals dig a circular trench around her, jostling each other until only one remains. That individual then mates with her. The echidna's penis has 4 heads, though only 2 are active during any single mating event, alternating with each new encounter. The fertilized egg is laid directly into the female's pouch, where it incubates for roughly 10 days before hatching. Deep-sea anglerfish, ceratioids. Finding a mate in the deep ocean is so unlikely that ceratioid anglerfish have evolved a solution unlike anything else among vertebrates. The male, tiny relative to the female, locates her through chemoreception and bites into her skin. Over time, his body merges physically with hers, blood vessels connect, his eyes degenerate, his digestive system disappears, his organs atrophy until he becomes little more than a sperm-producing appendage fused to her body, drawing nutrients directly from her bloodstream. A single female may carry several fused males simultaneously. This is one of the only confirmed examples of physiological parasitism among vertebrates. It ensures the male's sperm is always available when the female is ready to spawn. Pufferfish, Torcugener albomaculosus. Off the coast of Japan near Amami Oshima, male white-spotted pufferfish spend 7 to 9 days constructing an elaborate circular formation roughly 2 meters in diameter. The design features precise geometric ridges radiating outward from a central nest. Its purpose is purely reproductive. If a female finds the structure sufficiently impressive, she enters the center and spawns with the male there. The surrounding ridges are not decorative. They reduce the water current speed and prevent eggs from dispersing. Divers first observed these formations in 1995, but the species responsible was only confirmed in 2014. Red-capped manakin, Ceratopepra mentalis. Researchers have compared the red-capped manakin's courtship display to the moonwalk. The male positions himself on a thin horizontal perch facing the female and slides his feet rapidly backward along the branch while keeping his upper body almost completely still, producing a smooth, mechanical-looking glide. He accompanies this with sharp wing snaps and abrupt posture changes. The display is physically demanding and takes years to master. Juvenile males practice the sequence long before becoming reproductively active. Females observe multiple males before selecting a partner. The successful male contributes nothing beyond sperm, no nest construction, no territorial defense, and no role in raising offspring. Blue-footed booby, Sula nabuxi. Foot color serves as the blue-footed booby's primary indicator of genetic quality. The vivid turquoise pigmentation comes from carotenoids sourced directly from a fresh, high-quality diet, making foot brightness a real-time signal of the male's current health. During courtship, males lift each foot in slow, deliberate alternating steps, spread their wings, and point the bill skyward for the female's inspection. Females assess the exact shade with considerable attention. Research has indicated that females reject males with dulled feet, and that chicks fathered by brighter-footed males show stronger immune responses. In this species, foot color is not only relevant for reproduction, it is the mechanism through which females identify and select for genetic fitness. If you've made it this far, please hit the like button. It really helps the channel. Montezuma oripendula, Saracoleus montezuma. Large colonies of Montezuma oripendulus nest together, and females select a dominant male to father the majority of offspring. Reaching that position requires sustained competitive display. Males perform a bowing sequence, lurching forward sharply with spread wings, swinging themselves nearly upside down on a branch, and emitting a cascading call as they descend. This is repeated throughout the day. While the dominant male is occupied, subordinate rivals attempt covert mating at the colony's edges. Females actively assess multiple males before choosing. The colony's nests hang from a single isolated tree, sometimes in groups exceeding 30, forming one of the most architecturally distinctive colonial structures in the bird world. Bowerbirds, Telonor-hinchidae. Male bowerbirds construct elaborate ground structures called bowers, not for nesting but exclusively to attract a mate. The satin bowerbird builds a corridor of sticks and decorates it with objects of a single color, blue. Berries, feathers, bottle caps, and plastic fragments are collected and precisely arranged. The male also applies a pigment paste to the bower walls using plant material or bark held in the bill. It is one of the few documented instances of tool use in a mating context. Researchers have identified a principle called forced perspective in these displays. Smaller objects are placed farther from the bower entrance, making the interior appear larger from the female's vantage point. The quality of construction, not the male's appearance, primarily determines reproductive success. Red-sided garter snake, Thamnophis sirtalis parietalis. Each spring in Manitoba, Canada, tens of thousands of red-sided garter snakes emerge simultaneously from underground limestone dens. Males vastly outnumber females at the surface, and every female that appears is immediately surrounded by a churning mass of competing males, all attempting to mate. This is called a mating ball. The female controls the outcome through her movements, resisting some rivals while allowing others to proceed. Certain males produce a chemical signal that mimics a female's pheromone, diverting competitors and temporarily clearing the area. After a successful mating, the male deposits a gelatinous plug inside the female that delays access by subsequent males. Marsupial antechinus species. The marsupial antechinus, a small carnivorous marsupial from Australia, reproduces in a concentrated window that is physiologically fatal to every male. Once a year, for 1 to 3 weeks, males enter an unrelenting mating frenzy, pursuing and copulating with as many females as possible. The cost is fatal. Stress hormones surge to the point where the immune system collapses, internal bleeding begins, and fur falls out. By the time breeding ends, every male in the population is dead. Females may carry offspring from multiple fathers simultaneously. The strategy effectively trades individual survival for maximum reproductive output. Octopus, Octopoda. Brief, precise, and often perilous for the male, that is, octopus mating. He delivers sperm to the female using a specialized arm called the hectocotylus. They do this because females have been documented consuming males during or after the encounter. Following mating, males decline rapidly and typically die within weeks. Females then guard their eggs with complete dedication, fastening them in strands to rock surfaces, directing water over them continuously for ventilation, and refusing to eat for the entire brooding period, which can last months depending on the species. The female dies when the eggs hatch. No other aspect of the octopus's life demands more than its final act of reproduction. Giraffe, Giraffa camelopardalis. Courtship among giraffes begins with an unusual ritual. The male nudges the female's hindquarters until she urinates, then draws the liquid across a sensory organ in the roof of his mouth using a behavior called the Flehmen response. If she is ready, he follows closely and attempts to mount, but access to females is rarely uncontested. Male rivals swing their long necks like pendulums and slam their ossicones, horn-like structures, against each other's bodies in a behavior known as necking. These strikes are powerful enough to knock a competitor off balance or onto the ground. A dominant bull defends territories containing groups of females, holding his position for years and fathering most calves born within his range. Birds of paradise, Paradiseidae. The birds of paradise of New Guinea represent the most visually extreme outcome of female mate choice in the bird world. Males have developed iridescent breast shields, elongated tail wires, elaborate plume arrangements, and feather structures that produce shapes found nowhere else in nature. Each species performs a unique, choreographed display. The superb bird of paradise spreads its cape and breast shield to create a near-perfect oval around its face, while the Parotia executes a precise, rapid, ballerina-like shuffling dance on a cleared forest floor patch. These performances can continue for hours across repeated encounters with no guaranteed result. Females visit multiple males, observe, and reject the majority. The extraordinary extravagance on display is the accumulated product of female preference across thousands of generations. Flamingo, Phenicopteridae. Flamingo courtship is a group performance. Breeding begins when large numbers of birds spontaneously synchronize into collective display behavior. They turn their heads rapidly side to side in a movement called head flagging, lifting and spreading their wings simultaneously and marching in tight formations while vocalizing. The synchrony of the group appears to function as a collective health signal, stimulating pair formation across the flock. Once bonded, flamingos are monogamous for the season, sharing incubation of a single egg on a mud mound nest. Both parents produce a protein-rich secretion from the upper digestive tract, which they feed directly to the chick for its first several weeks of life. Spotted hyena, Crocuta. One of the most anatomically unusual reproductive systems in the mammalian world belongs to the spotted hyena. Females are exposed to elevated androgen levels before birth, resulting in masculinized external anatomy. The clitoris elongates into a structure anatomically similar to a penis, through which the female urinates, mates, and gives birth. The birth canal passes through this structure, making delivery highly hazardous, with significant rates of complications. For mating to occur, the female must actively retract this organ, making forced copulation anatomically impossible. In a society where females rank above all males, this arrangement means reproductive access is controlled entirely on the female's terms. Hippopotamus amphibius. Almost entirely underwater is where hippopotamus mating takes place. This makes it one of the least directly observed reproductive behaviors among large land mammals. The female signals receptivity, and mating occurs in the water with her head submerged for extended periods. She lifts her nose reflexively to breathe at intervals without fully surfacing. Males compete aggressively for territories that encompass groups of females, and these confrontations involve their large lower canine teeth, which can exceed 50 centimeters and inflict severe wounds. A dominant bull maintains his territory for years, fathering most calves born within his range. Gestation lasts approximately 8 months. Calves are born both on land and in shallow water and can swim almost immediately after birth. Praying mantis, Mantodea. Cannibalism in praying mantises is documented and biologically significant, but it does not occur in every mating encounter. In wild conditions, females cannibalize males in roughly 13 to 28% of observed cases, depending on species and the female's nutritional state. The female typically bites off the male's head before or during copulation. The headless male continues mating. The nerve ganglia controlling the reproductive act are located in the abdomen, not the brain, so decapitation does not interrupt the process. Research indicates that cannibalism may increase both the duration of sperm transfer and the female's egg output by providing direct nutrients. Males have been observed approaching hungry females with greater caution. Scorpiones. Among the most ritualized mating sequences in the arachnid world is scorpion courtship. When a male locates a receptive female, he grasps her chelicerae, the claw-like structures near the mouth, with his own, and the two begin a slow, synchronized movement across the ground, called the promenade à deux. The male leads, searching for a flat, firm surface. Once found, he deposits a spermatophore, a structured sperm packet, onto it, then maneuvers the female directly over it, so she absorbs the sperm through her reproductive opening. Throughout the dance, he must simultaneously prevent her from turning to consume him. In some species, the male delivers a targeted sting to the female's mouth parts to temporarily subdue her long enough to complete the transfer. Seahorses, hippocampus. The only animals on Earth in which the male becomes pregnant are seahorses. The process begins with a daily greeting ritual. Bonded pairs entwine their tails and drift together each morning for up to an hour, a behavior that synchronizes their reproductive cycles over days or weeks. When both are ready, the female transfers her eggs into the male's specialized brood pouch through a precise physical connection. He fertilizes them internally and carries them for 2 to 6 weeks, depending on the species. He provides nutrients through the tissue lining the pouch wall. When birth begins, the male anchors himself and pumps the young out in rhythmic muscular contractions, sometimes releasing several hundred fully formed juveniles in a single event. What these rituals reveal is that evolution cares about one thing only: getting genes into the next generation. Beauty, violence, sacrifice, and deception are all just tools in that ancient competition. Whether it's a male anglerfish fusing his blood to a female, or a queen bee storing 5 years' worth of sperm in a single flight, the drive to mate produces solutions that seem almost impossible. Some of these behaviors may look shocking or even disturbing to human eyes, but for each animal on this list, it's simply another day in the struggle to survive and reproduce. Which ritual stunned you the most? Please let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more wild stories from the natural world.